about those Devils? How about those Devils? How about those Devils? How about those Devils?
How about those Devils? Oh, welcome back, Devils fans. It is your host, Ace, here on Running with the Devils, where we are talking New Jersey Devils hockey all year long. Please hit that subscribe button, smash the like, share with a friend. Thank you very much. The New Jersey Devils, losers of 2 in a row, back at the Rock, looking to keep the improbable dream alive. As you all are very well aware, Devils not looking so great in the standings as the East just keeps on winning. And the Devils find a way. Oh, the Devils find a way, overcoming 2 separate 1-goal deficits to beat the Nashville Predators in overtime by a score of 3-2. I must ask, I must know.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Are you not entertained? A lot to get to in this one. Again, not the prettiest. Jack Hughes injured. Hopefully it's not for too long. Sheldon Keefe did reveal in the post-game presser there that it is lower body, and so it is not related to the hand injury that he's been nursing as a result of Chicago cut. A lot of people were speculating on the Twitter that maybe it was a slash to the skate, something with his foot. And so we'll keep an eye on that. Obviously, this team was struggling mightily with him, and they're certainly not going to be a better team without him. And so obviously we all want to see Jack Hughes back in the lineup as soon as possible to keep the hope alive. 3 games before the Olympic break, and I think they're going to have to win all of them to even, keep the improbable dream alive. Like I said, it's not looking too good right now. The East keeps winning, but we'll talk about the standings and all that. But win or lose, we booze, folks. Win or lose, we booze, and it's victory drinks tonight. We're back to victory drinks. I'm going with the surf side. Black cherry. The camera's not focusing. Black cherry lemonade and vodka Surfside. Victory drinks. We're back in the win column. Oh, even the sound of the crack sound sounds better when it's a victory drink. Cheers to all you guys. Cheers to New Jersey Devils. Cheers to Nico. Cheers to everybody. Marky. Oh, when it hits your lips, those victory drinks. Damn, that's a good victory drink. All right, we'll get into it. We get to the game, and in typical New Jersey Devils fashion, for the season, they give up the first goal. McCarron on a wraparound. Not the prettiest defensive or goaltending efforts there. Beat Markey. I'm not sure if that was the first or second shot on goal, but Predators up 1-0 early on, and I'm not going to lie, I did think that it was a wrap at that point. I just was like, this is over. I thought the team was going to fall apart, but luckily that did not happen. First period ends 1-0, and we get to the second period, and one of my favorite young players, a kid that we've all been talking about and waiting for a while, a guy that I really did think had a chance to crack the lineup coming out of training camp, Lenny Hameenaho, has the puck and cutting through traffic, sees a lot of open ice, and he puts it in the perfect spot for Dougie Hamilton, and Dougie does what Dougie does best, just fired on net. And at 10:01, Dougie Hamilton's 7th ties the game at 1.
Teach me how to Doug. Teach me how to Doug.
Teach me how to Dougie. Dougie Hamilton now points in, I believe, 9 straight games. Since being scratched, this man has been on an absolute tear. I don't know that we've seen anything like this possibly ever. I mean, the guy gets healthy, scratched. Everyone's thinking he's getting traded any day. And he comes back and he's just dominating. In that stretch, I think he has like 8 assists and the 2 goals now. Great play by Lenny, obviously. Great foresight there for Dougie just to rip it on net. The game's tied up at 1, and that is how the second period would end. And at that point, once again, right, I feel like in the past couple of weeks, the Devils have been tied going into the third, like almost every game. And it's like win the third period and let's go home winners, or I guess already home, but I guess go to their collective homes. Third period, another early goal. Forsberg gets it, and he just rips it past Markey. Super unfortunate there to give the lead right back so early in the third period. And that was deflating. I did think the game was going to end at that point 2-1 or 3-1 Nashville, potentially with adding the empty net. But I was not feeling good about this team. Obviously, have been offensively struggling for the whole season without Jack Hughes. We were already looking at some wonky lines going into the game, and then everything got switched up when Jack was out, obviously without Cody Glass, a huge piece of this team, especially in the last couple weeks. And Devils down 2-1. We continue on, and at 10:42, we cannot understate the effort of one Dawson Mercer on this play. The Predators are within inches of getting the puck out of the zone. Mercer finds a way to win a battle, wins a beautiful one-on-one battle, tied up with fix this here. I forget who he was tied up with, but he was tied up with a Predator, wins the one-on-one battle, and as a result, the Predator player, and I don't know if this is intentional or not, it was hard to tell, but he ends up kicking the puck deeper into the zone towards net, and Jesperbratt picks it up, and Bratter does what Bratter can do. Unfortunately, we haven't seen it enough this season, but Bratter's in super tight, throwing on multiple dekes, drops the goaltender, throws another deke for good measure, and does a nice little fadeaway roofer into the back of the net. And at 10:42, Jesperbratt picks up his 13th of the season, tying the game at 2.
Jesperbratt, tit-a-tat, where my boy at?
Where my boy at? Jesperbratt ties it up, and we needed that one oh so badly. Did we need that one? Hopefully we see Bratter start to heat up. I mean, this has been a fairly tragic season for him, I would say, along with many other guys. And I'm sure my guy Brian J is going to be flaming Timo in the chat when I get to the comments. It's like a nightly ritual now, but Bratter ties it up at 2. That is how the third period would end, and we head to overtime. Predators have a possession. Oh, and this is like the new rally cap, by the way. I think we won because of this hat, but it is very hot, so I'm going to switch to a normal cap now as I'm overheating. We head to overtime. Devils get possession of the puck. Dawson Mercer behind the net looks up. He hits Nico, and Nico comes streaking up the wing and just uncorks a bomb. Nice slapper from Nico past the goaltender.
Pretty, and he lives in Jersey City, number 13, Nico Hischier.
Nico Hischier, the captain. Beautiful overtime winner, his 18th of the season from Dawson Mercer, and the boys pull out what for most of the game looked like an improbable victory. Nico Hischier, what a bomb. Another overtime winner for Nico. Love to see it. Keep the hope alive. Obviously, as I've talked to many of you about in past weeks, that, I'm taking this for what it is. I'm going to celebrate every win. Love the 2 points. This team has dug themselves quite a hole that they're going to have to get out of, and it's not looking great. But all they could do is keep trying to win 3 more games before the break. If they could win all of them, that would be swell and almost mandatory at this point to keep hope alive. And that last one, obviously, before the break, is against the New York Islanders, who we are trying to run down for third in the Metro, and they just keep winning. And Andre Palat, I mean, we'll get to that too. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people talking about Pally's big Islanders debut last night, but we get to the game stats. Predators 29 shots on goal, Devils with 35 shots on goal. Face-offs dead even down the middle, 50% Predators and Devils. Preds power play goes 0 for 2. The Devils power play looked pretty shitty, goes 0 for 3. Predators with 17 hits, the Devils with 27 hits. Predators with 14 block shots to the Devils 19 block shots. Predators with 16 giveaways, Devils with 18 giveaways. The Preds with 3 takeaways, the Devils with 6 takeaways. And a little player stat stuff here. The captain, Nico, with the overtime winning goal. 7 shots for Nico. My God, 1 block and a hit. Glendening with a shot and 2 blocks. Connor Brown, 2 shots. Timomeier, 5 shots and a hit. Hameenaho, the big assist on the Dougie goal, 2 shots, 2 blocks. Tsyplakov in his debut, nothing really. 5 hits, though. Wow, I didn't realize. 5 hits for Tsyplakov in his Devils debut. coming over from the Islanders in that Palat trade. Paulie Cotter, 2 shots, a block, and 6 hits. Love to see that. Jesperbratt, the big game-tying goal, a block, 2 hits. Grits, my man Grits. Love Grits. Grits and Hameenaho, guys, are part of, wait for it, the oh-so-bright future. Grits and Lenny Hameenaho, what 2 very exciting young players. But Grits has the assist, 4 shots, 3 blocks, and 3 hits. That is quite the stat line for our young Russian friend. Got to give Grits his credit. Jack did not play much, obviously, before being injured. Dawson Mercer, the assist, a great hustle play on that Bratt goal, which he does not get anything on the score sheet for, but that entire sequence does not happen without the absolute hustle of Dawson Mercer. He had 2 shots. Dilly with a block and 5 hits. Dougie with the big goal, 1 hit, 5 shots. Johnny Kovacevic with a block and 3 hits. Shimo Nemitz, 3 blocks. Brett Pesce, 2 shots, a block. Siegs with 3 blocks. And Jacob Markstrom, in perhaps one of his better starts in quite some time. 27 saves on 29 shots. Save percentage of .931. Love to see it. Markey really held down the fort and answered the call when he was called upon. And he did make some very good saves to keep the Devils in it throughout that game. And we get to the deserve to win meter, because why the hell not? The deserve to win meter has the Devils at 58.2%. See a lot of crap shots out here, and you see the little shot chart. Lots of perimeter junk, but they had some chances in tight. And you love to see it. The New Jersey Devils find a way to win in what looked like it was going to be a loss. After 1-0, I thought it was over, and that's just sad, but that's kind of where I'm at mentally. With this team right now, it just seems like this season has been doomed, and it's going to be a slow bleed out. I would love to be wrong, and I would love to see this team somehow pull off the miraculous. But we'll see. 1 game at a time, 2 big points tonight. Absolutely beautiful stuff. And we get to the chats. Oh, we get to the chats. This should be an interesting mixed bag tonight. Zach Chin, thank you for the super. I love being vindicated by Markey. Are you a Markey guy too? I mean, listen, you guys all know I'm a Markey guy, but I call it like it is. Like, he's been, pretty brutal for a lot of the season. Once in a while, he'll give us a good start like this, but can he consistently do it? Just like the forward group cannot consistently score, Markey, I say, is the roller coaster thrill ride. You never know what you're going to get. When he plays well, but when he's not on, it's pretty scary. But hopefully he could get it together. I do think you're going to see him, I would imagine, in 2 of the next 3 games, I would say. He'll get 2 of the next 3 heading into the Olympic break. But solid outing for Markey. We need more of them, and hopefully he could help be part of this nearly miracle run to the playoffs. The Reversion, thank you for the super. 1K off the Devils win. Wow, what did you bet, a money line, or what'd you bet? What a sweat fest. I'm so hyped. Let's go Devils. Well, congratulations to you. Quite the ballsy bet. Did you just take the money line? I'd be curious what your bet was. All right, now we're going into the cesspool that is the comments here. Let's see where I'm going to kick it off. Yeah, some of these comments are crazy. I can't even put them on screen. Benjamin, you're a wild dog. Man. We got B now. I'm not that entertained, to be honest. I'm so sad about the season. Man, you guys are dooming after a win. That's how we know it's bad. But I get it. I mean, listen, well, let me just pull that up real quick before I do more before I get into more comments. I meant to pull this up before. It's a sad state of affairs right now, kids. It is. I'm not here to lie to you and give you false dreams. I know that's going to upset some people. The sunshine and rainbows crowd is going to get mad at me for being realistic, but I'm sorry. I'm not here to sell pipe dreams and, give false hopes. Like, the math is the math. The standings are what they are, and I'm going to always be honest. And I think most of you appreciate that and don't want to hear a bunch of nonsense, but I have been flamed by some folks in here, the past couple games that are like, you're not a real fan and this and that. It's like, buddy, like, just because I'm being honest about the team doesn't make me not a real fan. Like, And we look at the stats, pretty depressing. I mean, look at the Buffalo Sabres. My God, who would have ever seen that coming? But Devils now 4th in the wild card race, a whopping 9 points. My God, 9 points behind the Bruins. They have played one more game than us, but still 9 points out of the second wild card spot and 8 points behind the Islanders for 3rd in the Metro. And again, obviously that game on, I think it's February 5th, the last game before the Olympic break is against the Islanders. And that's very much a must win if there's any chance, to catch them for the Metro, which probably will be the path of least resistance. You never know. I mean, so maybe some of these Atlantic teams in the wild card race could fall apart, but I'm not anticipating anyone falling apart. And a lot of people kind of thought the Penguins would fall apart as well. And like I've said from a couple months back when everyone was saying that, like Sid and Gino are trying to make a run at this thing. 2 all-time greats, rapidly coming towards the end of their careers, and they want to make another playoff run. And so far, it doesn't look like they're slowing down. But yeah, not a great scenario to be in. And this is after a win. 9 points out of a wild card spot, 8 points out of the Metro, 3rd spot in the Metro. Must win against the Islanders on February 5th. There is absolutely no question about it. That is a must-win game for this club. The 5-star, thank you for the super. Beating Nashville is no big win. We should have got Stamkos months ago. Oh, boy. Well, listen, any win is a big win right now. They need to win essentially every game, right? So, like I've said the whole time, even going back a couple weeks ago, I'm celebrating the win, happy for the 2 points, keeps hope alive for another day, no matter how unlikely it may be. But hope is still alive. We might be on life support, but they're not dead yet. You never know what could happen. Crazier things have happened in the sport. If I'm being honest, like I've said a million times before, seeing what this team is and how they've performed and the inconsistency and all that, obviously it's not very likely, and I don't believe it's going to happen, but I would love to see it happen, and I will continue to root and hope and wish, the Fitz method, that somehow that does happen. There's nothing else we could do. In terms of Stammer, oh, man, were you one of the chosen few with me and my man Richie? I know most people, when those rumors first came out a couple months ago, and the thing that's annoying about the rumors is, Fitz has to be leaking this to the media to make it sound like he's trying to be active or something, because we've literally been linked to nearly every single guy in the past couple of years, and we've got none of them. And it's super annoying to see us linked to these guys. It's almost become a running joke now. But when those rumors first came out, your boy Ace was all about Stammer, and I fought the throngs of people on here flaming me. He's so washed. He's over. He's old, this and that. A bunch of just people that know nothing, that don't realize what a bona fide Hall of Famer, an absolute gangster could do for your lineup. And this guy's been on fire for the past month or so. Would be the leading goal scorer on our team by far. An amazing power play threat. You can't talk about a guy like a gamer. He was involved in a little skirmish tonight, mixing it up. I mean, this guy wants to win. He is a winner. He's won at every level. I think it is an absolute massive fail, if there was any truth to those rumors, that the Devils did not pounce immediately and try to get him when he was on the market. Now, I don't think he's leaving Nashville at all. And if he is, he's certainly not going to come to the Devils. And so I do think that ship has sailed, and that would have been an amazing addition in so many ways. But I'm glad to know that you were one of the chosen few who were pro Stamkos. The very, very minority group wanted Stammer because he's washed. And I wish I took screenshots of all the stuff people were saying. He's so washed and we don't need another guy over the hill. And like I said, it goes back to the Palat-induced PTSD. Cheers to all of you. Let me have a sip of this. Because of the Palat contract, people will be beaten down and scarred by this for years to come. Anytime there's a rumor or anything in the air involving the Devils potentially getting a guy that's 30 years or older, everyone is a Palat 2.0, and they're going to start referencing the Palat contract because that really did severe, deep-rooted psychological damage to a lot of the fan base. And unfortunately, with all due respect to Pally, Steven Stamkos is multiple stratospheres above in every way imaginable. I mean, to use it as a remote comparable type of contract is just a complete slap in the face to the legend that is Steven Stamkos. But yeah, I could not agree more. I wanted him desperately. He would have been a great ad. I do think that ship has sailed, and like some other things that kind of went by the wayside, it's nice to dream. I would have loved to see it. Stammer in red and black would have been absolutely phenomenal. The reversion, thank you for the super. Had a lotto. Oh, you're a sick gambler. I love it. I was doing parlays back in the days. Had a lotto parlay with Devils, Sabres. Oh, my God. Devils, Sabres, Lightning, Islanders, Pens, and a Dougie point. You are a true degenerate, sir. You're putting in props with game winners. I love it. Everyone but the Devils were smooth, coasting to a win. OT goal never felt so good. So you got what? 1, 2, 3, 4. So we had to pick 5 games. So 5 winners plus a Dougie points. That's a 6-legger. What did you put? Like $40 on that or something? I'm not great at doing the parlay math. That looks like a $30 to $50 bet. What'd you have to lay to get that payout? Congratulations, man. Nothing feels better than when the 6th leg of a 6-team parlay hits. Nothing feels better. Your victory drink must taste really good tonight, sir. All right. Gary says, nice hatties. Thanks. I don't know if you're referring to this one or the Devil one I had on before. Probably the Devil hat before I changed. Tasha says, time for Fitz to go back on vacation. Oh, Brian J. Not really that entertained. This team stinks. I knew a lot of people are going to be talking like this. Be now, Jack wrestling for Olympics. That's all he cares about. Hopefully he's back in the lineup. I mean, we need him desperately. Obviously, this team has shown time and time again that they basically will go as far as Jack Hughes can carry them. And we've seen, when he was out of the lineup after the Chicago cut, how bad it was. And hopefully he's back. It's probably something with his foot. I mean, it's a whole new injury. So if it's anything substantial, I mean, it's just horrible. Then it would be his injury totals on the season would be 1 off-ice incident at Chicago cut and then 1 on the ice in this Predators game tonight. Kids just can't catch a break. Gary says he needs to stay here in NJ and not go to Italy. There's no chance that's happening, man. He is so pumped up for this Olympics. He is not going to miss it for anything. Oh, my God. You guys are nuts in the comments. Tasha, this GM really just boggles my mind. When your star player gets injured and your team needs help to make the playoffs, you ... do absolutely nothing. I do think the patience, we'll call it, the patience of Fitz is one of his worst qualities because we often see, what I would call is another case of too little, too late, right? Like, I would have loved to see some activity. And I told you guys, I'm not just, giving revisionist history here. That second 3-game losing streak, which ultimately became a 5-game losing streak in November, I was like, I've seen enough. The problem signs are there. We need a shakeup, and we need one now. And it never happened. And I think he was, again, just hoping and wishing things were going to kind of correct themselves, and it never happened. And then before you know it, in the blink of an eye, we were right on the cusp of a playoff spot to now, 7 and 8 points out. Is it 8 and 9? I forget. It's depressing. Yeah, 8 and 9 points out. I mean, that's brutal stuff. And that's how quick it could happen. And I said it from over 2 months ago. Given how the East, how tight it was and the division, I was like, you could really fall out of a spot like that and slide out. And that kind of happened. And now he's probably in the headspace of, punt team, maybe calling in the punt team. Is this season gone? Is it not worth buying? And again, I've told you guys a million times before that I do think there is the kind of thought process where you're not just buying for this season. Obviously, if there's a guy on the block that you either can re-sign long-term or has a contract in place, like, you have to think about the future as well. And sometimes opportunities arise to get a guy where you might not be able to get a comparable player in free agency or a trade in the summer. So it's like, if you could add this guy, then certain guys you should be looking to buy. This team is going to be playing next year, right? There's an NHL season next season. So get some guys that could help you for the future. But I'm very curious to see how this all goes. I do think he is going to continue to wait and kind of see where the team is in terms of the playoffs closer to the deadline. And I don't expect him to be much closer. And then I think he will sell whatever couple pieces. Like, I don't think there's ever going to be a mass sell, but he might sell a piece or two, to free up cap space for the summer. And I do think Dougie Hamilton, if we're not a playoff team, it would be a crime to not move Dougie. And I love Dougie. You guys know that. I've defended him and talked about him since last summer. But if we're firmly out of the playoff picture, there is no point in hanging on to him. You might as well trade him at the deadline for the best return you could get. Gary says, time to make a trade for a center. We've all wanted one of those forever. B now says, Lou would sit Jack's ass down for Olympics all day and night. No way he would go to Italy under Lou. I mean, Lou would try. The Players Association, I think, has gotten much stronger since back in the day. And it kind of has, the culture and everything of sports in general, but definitely hockey has changed substantially. I don't think Lou would be able to get away with some of the stuff that he did back then, but that was a better time. Everything was better back then. Bonzo says Markey wasn't awful today. No, he was not. He was actually pretty solid. The 5-star, thank you for the super. Some people may disagree, but Shannon needs to be our GM, cut from the Devil's cloth. Oh, man. He was on my short list. I revealed my list in no particular order probably a month or two ago. The great Martin Brodeur, if he wants the job. I know many people are going to disagree with me. You will never convince me otherwise. I will take my shot with a guy like Marty any day. And then beyond Marty, Brendan Shanahan high on my list, and Brian Burke. Those are 3 guys that I certainly would love to see as the next GM. Yeah. Winners that know the game and bring in a little bit of that old school principle and culture. This team desperately needs a culture shift in so many ways. I could talk about this for hours. I'm not going to get too far off on the tangent, but I do think a guy like Shanny, despite what others may think, would certainly love to see a guy like Shanny at the helm for sure. Gary says Ace putting down some meatballs before coming on. Oh, this guy's got jokes. I think he's referring to my vlog. If you didn't see the vlog, I'll put the link in the chat. Shout out to my buddy Brian for hooking me up with the tickets to the exclusive VIP event, Dine with the Devils. This was honoring John McClane's Ring of Honor induction. I was able to go to the event. It was an amazing time. A lot of good food, a lot of players roaming around. There was a nice talk with Matt Lachlan, hosted it with Aaron Broughton, Ken Danico, and Johnny Mack, talking about that 87-88 season where the Devils clinched a playoff berth for the first time. That's in the vlog, some food stuff, but check that out. I dropped the link in this, not the description, the chat. I dropped the link in the chat. Also, if you head over to the channel, there is a vlog from Johnny Mack night at the arena, probably my last game of the season. But once again, thank you, Brian. Shout out to my buddy Brian for hooking that up. Amazing night. Those nostalgia, history honoring nights are my favorite nights of the year, and especially in a year like this where the current Devils are breaking my heart. I always love to go down memory lane and see some of these old guys and talk to them and stuff. It was really cool. I was able to talk to Johnny Mack. I talked to Scott Stevens for a while. Goosebump stuff talking to Scott Stevens. But check out the vlog. I just dropped that in the chat there. Collect Records, I hate to say it, but they look solid once Jack left. Less confusion. I mean, it is funny. Steve the Maniac texted me and was like, imagine they go on a tear with both Hughes brothers out and they like go on like this crazy streak. I mean, that'd be crazy. Trade Luke, Jack. Oh, man, we got an update. It was just trade Luke and Jack. Now it's trade Luke, Jack, and Meier. Meier has 1 goal in 25 games. Yeah, it's been a rough stretch. It really has. Carl says, being back in the building in a W tonight felt really good. A win is a win. It was bad. Heart dropped many times, but I'll take it. I'll take any win we could get. They got to just stay alive for the moment. And it may sound drastic, but like if they lost this game tonight, I think I would be fairly comfortable in declaring the season over. And obviously it's not, but the runway is very short now and there is no margin for error. They got to bank as many points as possible. This is the East is a knife fight. And New Jersey Devils Blood says, love Lenny's game. I love Lenny Hameenaho as well. Him and Grits might be the silver lining on a tragic season. And I hate silver linings and moral victories. But these kids are exciting. They look like they could definitely be part of that bright future. And that's about it. But we need to figure out a lot of other things, I think, heading into the offseason. David says Meyer's in scoring because Keefe is putting him on the wing. think you're referring to using him on left wing instead of right wing. Devil Dog, actually, I think Meier has 2 goals this month, actually, but that's not saying month. We have a hashtag fire Keefe. I don't necessarily agree with that, but I do not like some of the things we've seen. New Jersey Devils Blood says, think we have another gem in the AHL. Bring Shane LeChance. I'm a big LeChance guy. Big body guy, has some great hands and tight. I would love to see LeChance get an extended look. And I will say, if it ever gets to the point of the season like where we're firmly out of the playoffs, I want to see all these kids play. You know, there's a couple other. I'll give Hallinan some games. LeChance. There's probably a couple other worthy guys. I would just load it up with Utica guys and be like, who's going to make an impression heading into the summer? Go out there and let's get it done. Devil's Den, Austin, another Jack injury. When is it going to stop? How much longer is this going to be an issue? This might be going before your time, Austin, because you're a young guy, but forever. It's going to be forever an issue with both of them, unfortunately. The history is what it is. I wish it was not the case. But injury prone is injury prone, and there's nothing you could do. It's just keep your fingers crossed and hope for the best going into every season. It is a very unfortunate reality to live in, but that's what we're dealing with. I'm trying to skip ahead here. We're a little behind. Richie, he says, you could say that about the entire core. We don't have a player with 20 goals yet. Stamkos has 23 goals in 38 games. Too easy to single out one player. They all stink right now. Tell him, Richie. Tell him. Trade Luke, Jack, and Meier so at least Markstrom can win a game here and there. Meier does nothing. I mean, John Fay, whoever the Devils admin is, has balls of steel to make that post. Oh, I think that's coming down. You're referring to the Instagram post? I thought that was pretty wild as well. For a team that I think tries to stay, politically correct, or at least not politically incorrect, this was their Instagram post. For those that didn't see it, marked safe from Preds in the community. And I'm pretty sure this is like the flag on the map for sexual predators. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is a total reference to sexual predators. And they made a joke of marked safe from Preds in the community. Oh, man. I wouldn't be surprised if that eventually comes down or this person gets reprimanded for this, but I can't imagine people joking about stuff like that. Like, listen, I have very dark humor, so I will find humor in anything and not judge people for it. But in the world we live in today, you don't often see stuff like that because people are afraid of the backlash. And I'm curious to see if there is any. It would be pretty funny if there is backlash. Be now, Bratt goals, insanity, putting the moves on. Here's Brian with his hate. Here we go. Let's not waste our time talking about Timo's non-existent production. He is a massive disappointment that is going to haunt this team for years with that abysmal contract. Oh, boy. Brian. The 5-star, thank you for the super. Lenny and Grits of the future, trade Timo. I'm not against trading anybody if it improves the team. My issue with trading Timo is, you guys know I like Timo, but I'll trade anybody. My issue is that this team desperately needs to get more physical bruisers up front. And I feel like trading Timo is a step back from that. Like, if there was this magical plan where you're telling me we're going to trade Timo and then get three guys or 4 guys who are supposed to bring what he's bringing, then I would say fine. But for a team that so desperately needs more physicality and more bulls, trading our only one would be foolish, in my opinion. David says Meier came alive when Jack was out. Now that he's out again, it's Timo time. Well, it's almost March, and hopefully it's not too late. But I got to speed up, man. I'm so far behind. Devil's Den, these are the games that I love Mercer for. One of the hardest guys when he wants to be. Yeah, he's a dog, and he's very durable. Plays every game, goes out there, could get in on the forecheck, could provide some decent passing, could chip in with a goal here and there. But another guy that I could see potentially being moved out to try to kind of morph the identity of this club, because it is just not a winning group. All right, I got to skip ahead. Super far behind. Rendich says, I know we still have a murky outlook, but it feels good to watch a win always. Of course, I will celebrate every win. But I got to, keep it into perspective, keep it in perspective that, they still got a lot of work to do here. M Sharp says, look like a lot of great content. I have to catch up on, Ace. Thanks. Check it out. If you're into the history stuff, your boy's into the history. I know a lot of you are not, which is, pretty well documented by any time I put out any sort of historical video stuff. It typically doesn't get nearly as many views as other stuff, but I don't care. As long as some of you old school, longtime fans enjoy it, and I know a lot of you do. So definitely check that out. The conversation during the vlog is pretty cool for them to talk about the 87-88 season and things they remember, and the run to get into the playoffs and all that. It was really cool stuff. Gary says, can't play Markstrom for the first goal. Puck was thrown by Hamilton's soft Yossi to his captain and score. Jeremy Proper, smash that like for your boy. 159 people, 49 likes. Week. Let's go, fellas. Hit the thumbs up. And obviously, if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. What are we waiting for here? Furthermore, if you are subscribed, hit the notifications. Just so you don't miss anything. You might miss out. Crazy Alex's new guy has heavier, edgier, more violent. And he had 5 hits. The scouting report from my Islander friend, buddy Pat, said he's more of a perimeter guy. He will slow down whatever line he's on, but he will hit here and there situationally. But he had second only to Cotter, I think it was 5 hits tonight. I'll take it. Hopefully we could get a nasty streak out of him. I don't understand how some of these guys just aren't inherently nasty and want to hit people. I don't understand it. I really don't. Like, you're in the NHL and you're big. Go crush people. Jeremy Proper says, all my Islander friends are singing Pally's praises. I said, give it a few weeks and get back to me. Was it me or did Tsyplakov look a little lost out there? Yeah, it's obviously going to be an adjustment, playing with new line mates, a new system. Give him a couple games, but, if he's going to keep throwing the body, keep doing it and bring some nastiness. Start some skirmishes. Dilly had a little bit of one. But this team just has to get nastier overall. Gary says fire fits. John Fay, a win is a win taken. Let's move on to our next disappointment Saturday against the Sens. That's another big one. Another team just trying to find their way who's in a deep hole too. Sean says that's what a rough watch, but a must-have 2 points. Let's go Devils. Yeah. I'll take it. Zach Shin says I'm probably Markey's biggest defender. Okay. Faye says, he did look lost, but 5 hits speaks for what kind of guy he might be. That's kind of where I'm at, right? Like, keep doing that and then work on the other stuff. I do think, didn't he have I don't know if he actually registered a shot, but there was a play, I think, early in the first period. It may have been on his first shift or second shift, where I think Nico threw one out in front and he almost had a doorstep opportunity. B now says the cesspool that is the comment section. Hey, we resemble that comment. Gary says, would the Devils consider one of the farm team goalies come up as an extra backup? And if, who would you choose, Ace? Well, they're not going to do that, barring an injury to Markey or Allen. But at this point, if you had to pick one, you have to pick Dawes. He has NHL experience. He has shown he could play, that he could win games. And so it would definitely be Dawes. I do think my guy, Jakub Malik, he's been heating up a little bit for Utica in the AHL. Maybe he could be part of the solution in the future, whether that's, a couple of years from now or whatnot. I do think with Markey signed for the next 2 years after this and Jake Allen signed for 4 years, I don't think he plays all that out, but we may be seeing the Markey-Allen tandem for a while, but we do have a couple guys waiting in the wings. I do think we ultimately lose Dawes this summer, but we still have Jakub Malik and obviously Big Mike Yegorov at Boston University playing under former New Jersey Devil and 2-time Stanley Cup champion Jay Pandolfo. Bonzo said Markey was the blind squirrel I found in Acorn tonight. The bad thing is now they'll put him back in to blow more games. You're getting force-fed Markey no matter what. No matter what. All right, I got to try to catch up here. The 5-star, thank you for the super. We need guys like Peluso, big hearts and heavy. They're not as abundant as they were back in that league, but I certainly agree. I mean, I want guys that want to win, that bring heart, bring tenacity, and will play that kind of game and embrace it. And it just seems like the modern day, for the most part, not all of them, but the modern day guys just don't want to play that type of game. And it's unfortunate because it is winning hockey. If you could get guys to buy in, good things happen. But you got to find those guys. And you guys know who I want for all those reasons. Spencer says the Islanders game is a must-win. I completely agree. John Fay, we were on life support premium. Yeah, they're really doing everything to keep the heart pumping on the New Jersey Devils 25-26 season. B-Now says, I hope and wish, or I wouldn't watch, let alone be here. Yeah, completely true. Cujo, man. What's up, Ace? Was a hard-fought game, but feels good to have the win. Totally agree. Totally agree. Benjamin, the 3 playoff appearances in 14 years, unacceptable. Yeah, I mean, we could talk about this forever. The once proud franchise has fallen so far. And here we are. It really is a shame. Hopefully we get some big changes in the offseason. And we get a GM who could really turn this thing around and make us a constant playoff team / contender. I mean, the window that we should have had here was completely blown. All right, let me see what we got here. Yeah, we're all just going to start being nostalgic and talking about the former winners and legends that we used to see play, like the Crash Line and the Claude Lemieux and the Bobby Holiques and the Johnny Mack, Scott Stevens. It's when you look at the team now, you're like, what is this team? Like, it just, for the longtime fans, like, this team doesn't resemble anything like those teams, and the results speak for themselves. Bungie Boris says, Ace, word on the streets is that Fitz has both Luke and Jack injured, so he could surgically combine the 2 Hughes brothers into the ultimate hockey player. The Juke Hughes program, it's called. Man, you guys are nuts. All right, I'm trying to speed up. Very chatty group tonight. Jeremy Popper, sweet pick with you in the Cup, Ace. Got to get one of those down here last year in South Florida, touch the 2003 team. Yeah, I'll always have to take the picture when they have it around. And it's a damn shame that the only time it's coming around is for these historic nights and the Devils celebrating yesteryear, which seems like that's literally all we have now, is talking about the glory days and, the players of that era and those teams. And it's like, we want to celebrate something now, like something remotely current, but there's nothing. Just continually celebrating the history. All right, I'm super far behind. Oh my God. All right, let me speed up here. Samuel says you can't build a cup championship on one injury-prone player. Completely agree. You definitely can't. In any sport, you can't have your team completely collapse if one guy gets hurt. Like, that's just a recipe for disaster. Gary says, I want that Devils hat. Is it on the site? This is what happens when I traded hats. Are you talking about the hat I'm wearing now, Gary, or the Devils mascot one? Hit the like button. Thank you. Hit the like button. Holy hell, the Canes. Yeah, Canes keep winning too. Screw you, Carson. Your team's a good team. Samuel says Fitz has a future that never comes. Yeah, it's the bright future that never comes is right. And that's why he must be shown the door. And we need to get in a GM that cares about winning and will do whatever it takes to win. David says, too late to get anybody now. Realistically, 9 points out with like 5 teams to catch with 28 games is too difficult. It's, an anomaly, mathematically speaking, but nothing's impossible. Just keep winning and see how close they can make it. Devils Den, hot take. I don't want Fitz to make any more moves this year. If we get a big piece of the deadline and the Devils make the playoffs, then everyone will praise Fitz. This man does not deserve praise. So it's funny. Steve the Maniac kind of thinks like that too, Austin. I think no matter what, people are just done with this guy. Like, we've been sold a bill of goods and dreams every year, and every year it goes to shit. At this point, I do think there is some people that will be influenced. Like, let's just say he went out and got a big name. Like, that's not doing anything for me. I'm still screaming fire Fitz from the mountaintops, as most people will. But there's a small percentage of people who would be swayed back and be like, oh, maybe it's not all that bad. But I do think now people are done. After the past few seasons, I think they've seen enough, and they're like, this guy is not it. We keep getting sold a bill of goods, and that bright future is never coming. No, I didn't steal the meatballs. They were part of the buffet at the event. The man from Jers, Devil's Den, embrace the tank. All these wins are fool's gold. We should get as good of a pick as possible. Fire Fitz before the draft and try to rework the roster via trade. I could never embrace the tank, man. I just want to see them play, meaningful games for as long as possible. And tank, I could never be on board with that. Gary says, hey, Ace, we need to give shout out to Patrick Kane. Oh, yeah, shout out to Patty Kane. What did he become? Is it the second highest? Or is it number one now? Oh, no, Patty Kane, yeah, he overtook Mikey Madonna as the leading all-time U.S.-born leading scorer. 1,375 points. Wow. What a career for Patrick Kane. I remember when he was a rookie. It's crazy how fast the careers go by. Frank says, just curious, what makes you think Marty would be a good coach? Just because he's a great player doesn't mean it translates to coaching. Remember, Gretzky was a lousy coach. Frank, I never said I wanted Marty to be the coach. I would want him to be the GM. Very different. Half Naked Frankenstein, I agree. I'd love to see some Utica guys play, especially if it means we don't play Lamico or Glendening ever again. Yeah, I mean, it's a shame. The 5-star, thank you for the super. Yegorov is our future. It certainly seems like it could be, but goalies are kind of hard to predict. Like, they could look good at different levels and then kind of just never translate to the NHL. But, I mean, he's got the size. It seems like he's got a good head on his shoulders. Seems to be a great kid. And I think, hopefully with another year or maybe 2 in college, that he could make the next step and become an NHL legitimate starter. I mean, wouldn't it be great to have a true franchise goalie for the first time since Marty? Would be phenomenal. And then thank you. Eliash is the best Devil ever. I mean, I like Patty. I can't call him the best ever, but he's definitely up there, obviously, in his numbers in the rafters for very good reason. Patty's an absolute beast. All right, so now maybe I think other people took it the same way I did. So let's see. This is back to the Devil's Post. That's an old Facebook marked safe flag. Preds in the community was a tagline Nashville used on shirts this year. But are you going to tell me with a straight face that you don't believe that was kind of like they wanted people to maybe think what I thought? Because I'm not the only one. I think a lot of people thought exactly what I did. So I understand you're now saying that that's not what it is, but I think a majority of people are thinking the same as me. And so while it might not be what it is per se, it certainly seems like it's teetering on the edge of something. I don't know. Now I got to see what other people are saying about this. Jungle Static, screw Hamilton. He gets scratched. Then he turns it on. Implies he could have played better before but didn't care. Sinking in the standings wasn't an incentive enough. This team's attitude in a nutshell. I kind of agree with that too. It's like, buddy, like, were you just dogging it? You were dogging it, and then they scratch you. And now you're like, now I have a chip on my shoulder, and now I'm going to ball out. Like, yeah, what the like? What, you weren't trying before? That does bother me as well. It is very like, I don't know what the word is. I'm trying to think of a word to kind of encapsulate my thought on that, but I don't like that at all. I want gamers who are going to play all the time. Richie says, I'll take 3 more guys like Timo. After a while, you become a product of your environment. I do think he's kind of, dropped that physicality and nastiness as a result of playing with guys that don't play like that. A lot of people are going to disagree with that, but, like I've said, drop him on a team with a bunch of dogs and see what he does. Half Naked Frankenstein, when Timo gets power play time, he will score like 15 goals. Well, maybe now, if Jack misses some time, he'll get more of an opportunity on power play 1. Bungie says that's not the SP flag. That's a reference to a Facebook feature where you could mark yourself safe. Okay, but like I said, I think a lot of other people took it the way I did too. And then why did they? Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. Why would you put that up if you weren't trying to make people think exactly what myself and many other people thought? It just doesn't make sense. Walt says, keep getting these interviews whenever you're able to, Ace. A lot of us gobble up every interview with our team's players, new and old. I, for one, enjoy it. I appreciate that, Walt. That honestly, as I've said before, is my favorite part of this whole channel. I mean, I really enjoy these post games too, especially after wins. I do enjoy these, but my absolute favorite thing is to interview players is by far my favorite thing, and was one of the kind of driving or motivating factors to actually start doing these videos and live streams and shows and all of this. Because if I didn't, then, I couldn't just randomly try to interview players if there wasn't a reason for it, even though I would have loved to do that, anyway, but I kind of needed a vehicle or reason for it all to make sense. And here we are. But I will have hopefully a bunch coming soon. Well, I got a bunch of things in the hopper and looking to get back to that as soon as possible, including one that may blow people's minds. Very unexpected, I don't want to give away too many clues, but I think I'm going to have one coming up in the not too distant future where people are going to be like, whoa, because it's going to deviate a little bit, a slight deviation. New Jersey Devils Blood says, love the historical content. Thank you. Salvatore says, Malik Yegorov 2028. I don't know. I think Alan will still be here. I'm not so sure about Markey. Half Naked Frankenstein, the Johnny Mac stuff really made me really nostalgic. Unfortunately, it has also made me think of how those dudes busted their asses back then versus how I perceive the bratty Mucinex star sometimes. It's a different world. It really is in so many ways. The old school guys, everything about them was different. Their mentality was different. The way they went about their business was different. I think their level of care was very different. It's just a different world. G Orlando says Markey was really solid tonight, and his game has been getting consistently better. Yeah, but we don't have a lot of time here. Like, he's going to have to play. Every start's going to have to be a damn near gem, because there's no more time to give away points. This team has really dug themselves in a massive hole. Devil Dog says, stop going to games around here. And a team worth $2 billion, they'd sell in a heartbeat to build a new Commander Stadium and a new downtown arena for the Sixers. I don't think so. I think it's just too profitable of a business to sell. Why cash out now when the value of the team is just going to go up and they're going to keep making more money every year? I just can't see it. I mean, we could dream, but I just can't see it. Gary says Ace wants Tuck. He's one of the guys I would like, but I would prefer to try to find a guy with some term on their deal, because Tuck is going to want serious money. And, like, You know, are we going to have that money? Does it make sense to allocate that kind of money towards him? Maybe it is. And there's obviously a lot of variables we don't know the answer to leading up until the summer, but I think he ultimately ends up staying in Buffalo. Richie, Ace, do you think internally Allen is kicking himself for not taking $3 to $4 million a year deal instead of 1.8? Class move, home discount, but he might be thinking shit. Well, no, because no other team was going to give him 5 years, and I don't know how this works. If he retires early or something, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. It was $9 million total, so I think there could be a way where he gets paid all that out, even if he doesn't play the full term. But I think in this scenario, he just said, you know, I'm going to get a fair amount of starts in this tandem situation. I don't have to uproot my family from New Jersey. And he probably delusionally believed the team was going to be more competitive this year. And so I think given all those reasons, like he's made plenty of money in his career. I think he obviously said, you know, I value all these other things more so than just the straight payday. Devil's Den, speaking of goalies, Jake Allen is arguably one of the most underrated goalies in the entirety of the league. Could be, especially given how bad the team has played in front of him on some nights. Devil Dog says, sell and relocate the team to out of investors and make up the dates for concerts and other shows at the Prudential Center. You mean move the team out of New Jersey? I'm trying to figure out what you mean here. Suk says, in the modern era, the Devils are a loser franchise. We are losers. Losers rejoice. It's true. Losing mentality has plagued the organization. World's Worst Gamer says, I don't even need to have the team win. I just want an entertaining hockey team to watch. I'd rather them be boring and win if I had to pick. But obviously, if you're not winning, then at least being entertaining makes it a little bit easier. Ricky says, great to see Bratt come through with a filthy goal. Maybe that will get him going again. That'd be nice. I mean, especially in these next 3 games leading up to the Olympics. We certainly need, goals from wherever we could get it. This team has been struggling offensively. Fierce. Gary, the mascot hat. No, the mascot hat was a giveaway. I think it was last season. It was a giveaway at the arena last season. They don't sell it. My man, Pat. Palat looking good with Horvat and Hyndman. Yeah, Pally. Pat's my Isles source. And he was texting me during the game last night when he was lighting it up. I mean, Pally probably was mentally broken from being on this team. And then with all the trade rumors and everyone always talking about his contract, like I've defended Pally forever. I liked Pally. Obviously, I didn't like his $6 million, but I think it weighed on him. These guys aren't robots. They're not oblivious to what people are saying in articles and online and stuff. And he probably was like, you know what? Like another guy where I don't have to uproot my family. He could waive his no trade and go to a team that's looking like they're going to be a playoff team and probably a hard out, especially with Sorokin playing the way he is. Like, good for Pally. I'm probably going to be on the Isles bandwagon with Pat and Pally for, assuming the Devils don't make it. That's who I'll be rooting for in the East. And that could potentially ignite or kind of lead to a potential Devils-Islanders rivalry, which I would love to see. I feel like the rivalry's really kind of gotten stale. I mean, outside of the Rangers in the past couple of years, like there is no rivalries, and it's kind of crazy. Palat might put the Isles over the top. Oh man, that would be a photo that would live in infamy from this year. It'd be the Chicago cut photo, and then Pally in an Isles jersey raising the cup. Half Naked Frankenstein. They should bring Shanahan in as like a consultant or eventual GM or something. He came up under Lou and retired with him too. Maybe some of that stink is still on him. I'll trust a guy like Shanny way more than what we have now. David Chimes says, Amanda Stein says Jack suffered lower body injury, not surgery level, being evaluated for availability against Ottawa. Okay. Have you seen the SNL skit with the Predators player? No. What is the SNL skit? Brian continuing his Timo hate. David, lower body better than hand, re-injured, no surgery means not season ending. Being considered for next game is a good sign. It could be smoke screen too. Like they might know more than what they're letting on, but hopefully it is nothing. The fact that he tried to come back makes me believe that it's nothing that crazy because he did try to come back. So if it was something super serious, he wouldn't have even made the attempt. So that it does make me believe that he could play the next game. Jason knows that the season's done. They're not catching anyone time to sell Dougie. I mean, listen, slightly premature, but I suppose not really. I mean, listen, if there is a decent deal out there, I would trade him right now too, if the possibility's there. But there also is a possibility that Fitz is going to try to be greedy and hope that, another team maybe has some guys injured or something and the value gets raised in a bidding sort of situation closer to the deadline. It is possible. Patty, get Scotty Stevens on the podcast. Would absolutely love to. More Gabagool Ace. Would love to see if you get Rupp for an interview if that's possible. He's on my list. Guys, pretty much every guy of all time. Every guy you could think of is on my wish list. And so I'm actively working on this with real life and other things going on and trying to coordinate with guys. It's not always the easiest thing. But I want to interview everyone you guys could think of. And I will say, after doing a couple of them in person, it is so much better than on the internet. Obviously, it's great to have that possibility on the internet. But now I'm like firmly wanting to do them in person when possible. Crazy Alex, the old players praising Lou and the old organization should really be a wake-up call to our current. It's a different world, man. These people are just... especially the young players, like these guys that we're celebrating, they played before these guys were even born or they were babies. More Gabagool says the unexpected interview is Fitz, isn't it? Oh, yeah, totally. David, I thought your interview with the Maven was perfect. Very professional to actually read his book first. Most interviewers don't. I love Stan. Stan is such a huge part of my childhood and Devils history. Could talk to him forever. He knows everything about hockey. He's seen everything. I mean, the Maven. I mean, what more can you say about the Maven? The guy's a total legend. It's an absolute crock of shit that he is not in the Hockey Hall of Fame, and I hope he's in there soon because it's ridiculous that he's not. B now says, Ace, is it a player you might interview in the future, a deviation? You guys would never guess. And I don't want to jinx it, but it's going to shock a lot of people. It's going to be shocking. That's all I'm going to say. Jeremy Proper says, are we the only team in the NHL without a 20-goal scorer? I don't know. Someone's got to look that up. It's quite possible. B now says, Devils aren't going anywhere. It's the sixth largest money-making arena in the world. Why would they sell that? Completely agree. It's just the machine just prints too much money. Why would they walk away? The 5-star, thank you for the super. Go to Ironbound to get good food before games. I'm lazy and like I don't want to park and drive again, and it's too far. Like you're not going to walk it. So I typically, and I also have told you guys I have become slightly spoiled in my older age, and so I would just highly recommend one of the lounges in the arena that comes with the food. It's the more sensible option in my opinion. Eliash plus Needs. Oh, Needs is super high on the list as well. The smooth skating Scotty Niedermayer, another absolute legend. We'll never see another one like that. What a time to be a Devils fan. We're completely spoiled. Devil Dog HBSE, they get $2 billion or more from out-of-state investors looking to bring an NHL team to their city and just make up the 41 home dates at the Prue with other events. I can't see it. Gary says, I wish they could go back to Continental Airlines Arena. So do I. I would love to go. I would love to go back there. I wish they just renovated it. I know a lot of people will disagree, and we seem to have this argument now every night. Patty, I'm just trolling. Thanks to the shout out, Ace. Listen, I'm going to be on the bandwagon. Sorokin. How far is Sorokin going to take you guys? World's Worst Gamer I can never root for the Isles or Rags. I look at the Islanders totally different than the Rangers. Like, the Devils and Islanders really never had a rivalry in my fandom time. And I'll always have not like a true soft spot, but a little bit of a soft spot because my boy Pat, who was in here before, I've told you guys in the past that in high school we would just leave school early and go watch the Islanders play. Back then there was so many star-studded teams, but we'd go see the Islanders for dirt cheap play whoever. And I will say, as much of a dump as it was, there was something truly special about Nassau Coliseum, and I'm glad I was able to go there as many times as I did as a child. I saw the Devils play the Islanders there several times, and like I said, I've seen the Islanders play a bunch of other teams there over the years, and it was always a great building to watch hockey. Just had a super old school feel to it, and yeah, it was a good time. Some of those like Mike Pekka, Alexei Yashin Islander teams were fun to watch. Cisco Kid Ace, I love the ending to the Devils dinner with Stevens. My close second favorite Devil player after Marty. Wish I could meet him someday. Have home and away jersey Ultrafill for both. Very nice. The Ultrafills, I don't know if you've heard me talk about them, but the Ultrafills are my favorite jersey of all time. There's just something so special about those. Classic jerseys. As classic as they get. David says the Devils don't make it. I'm all in for a Sabres Sharks final. That'd be wow. What a final that would be, right? Like if you bet on that before the season, you probably could have bet $1 to make $1 million. I don't know if they let you parlay futures like that, but essentially a Sabres Sharks Cup final would be a parlay of the Sabres winning the East and the Sharks winning the West. That certainly would have had some massive, massive payouts. World's Worst Gamer, wish I had a ride to Ottawa and back. Tickets to the game, tickets to the Devils game in the cheap seats that aren't that bad, 30-ish Canadian. I didn't realize you could go to any games in Canada for that cheap. Wait, where do you live, World's Worst Gamer? Bonzo says, I don't root for any other team, but I'll root against teams. I don't root for other teams either, but for the playoffs, I usually just pick a team based on something. Now the Islanders have Pally, so that's kind of an added bonus. I always try to root for an ex-Devil. I still want Henrique to get one. Devil Dog, our market sucks. Third smallest building in the league, and we're never even close to 100% capacity attendance. Is that in reference to you thinking they would move? Is this little Patty? This could be little Patty. My guy Patty, you don't trade a guy like Palat. Let's go Islanders. I got both Pats in here, big and small. Big and small. Enjoy it, kid. I know you've seen some shitty Islander teams in your childhood, and this one, you got to talk to your father about it. He knows more than me, but it seems like probably one of your better teams in quite some time. Got some character guys, man. And Duclair. Man, Duclair lit the Devils up for a Hattie and that 9-0 smackdown. Jay Snow says Fitz better not touch our first round pick. Oh, Snow, I hope not only he touches it, I hope he trades that for win now. It's about win now, Snow. They can't draft for shit. You want him to hold on to a first round pick to what? Draft another guy that may or may not pan out? You package that up for win now pieces. Win now. Win right now. Adam Henrique, franchise legend. Honky Lips, my man, what's going on? Nice meeting you last night at the dinner, sir. You had a couple really good nights in a row, Honky Lips. Yes, you did. You went to dine with the Devils, and then you saw an overtime thrilling victory, courtesy of the captain, Nico Hischier. But they certainly are injury prone, which I'm sure is frustrating to both of them, as is the fan base. And Quinn is a phenom. He gets injured a little bit too, but that was a huge miss by Fitz as well on the season. I think if we got Quinn, everything could have been different, but we'll see. The 5-star, thank you again. Sorokin might be the best Tendy in the league. Yeah, the Russians. The Russians have been on the rise, man, between Vasilevsky, Sorokin, Shesterkin, and hopefully we have the next great Russian in net in Big Mike Yegorov. But they've kind of taken over. What used to be the French-Canadians kind of dominance has now kind of shifted. The Russian wave of goaltenders. Suk says Fitz would croak live in a run-in interview. Oh, boy. Beakfast, where do you rank Parise on your all-time Devils list? I mean, in terms of what? I mean, he never won anything, so unfortunately, I mean, he won an Eastern Conference championship. I don't want to say nothing. I mean, he's high on my list. But, it wouldn't be that high. I don't know. He'd probably fall somewhere in like I can't sit here and do it all in my head, but like, I don't know, in the 20 to 30 list, maybe. Richie says, you're the man. You got an interview with Jacques Lemaire, didn't you? I wish. That would be phenomenal as well. Red Devil. Nice win, but I hate how this Devils team plays two kind of games. Blowout losses that make you suffer for 60 minutes or nail biters are on the edge of your seat the whole game. The Cardiac Kids. The Cardiac Kids. The New Jersey Devils. Always going to make it exciting. Can't win easily. Got to make you sweat it out. Devil Dog says, yeah, because it was a small, intimate, had a low ceiling, and was loud building, totally opposite to the Meadowlands. Yeah, and we used to go to, was it Champs or Champions in the Marriott across the way? Great sports bar. I remember they had this appetizer platter I'd order. My fat ass would eat probably way more than I should, but they had this crazy sampler thing that had like chicken tenders, mott sticks, fries, onion rings, all the classics with some dipping sauces. I mean, that was a big part of my Nassau Coliseum kind of tradition as well. Red Devil says Nassau Coliseum was great. Love that dump. It really was a great spot. Half Naked Frankenstein. I saw Sid his rookie year versus the Islanders of the Coliseum. Very nice. Sid making his NHL debut at Continental Airlines Arena. A babyface Sid. I've told my story about that before. George Shannon, wonder if Jack is going to be careful and prep for Olympics when we need all in for the Devils now. Hopefully it's nothing too serious. I mean, we'll probably maybe hear more tomorrow. I don't know. We're gonna find out, but hopefully he's playing. We need to win the next 3 games. George says agree completely on the Maven. Yeah, it's criminal. I don't know what the hell what the issue is. Devils then says Ottawa tickets are super cheap. Toronto tickets are predatory. I know. Isn't Montreal pretty expensive too? David, Nassau Coliseum was awesome. No bad seats. Seats roomy. People too into fancy trimmings. New arenas too into tight seating for money optimization. I personally don't need anything fancy. Just give us good sight lines and a good experience. Being out to Adam Henrique, I think I'm still pissed we traded him. Yeah, I mean, at the time, I understood why they did it. That was in the Vatanen deal. Henrique, it's over. What a moment in Devils history. It's such a shame they couldn't win that cup final. It would have made that moment that much better. I mean, it's still an amazing moment in Devils history, but the fact that they lost in the finals definitely took some of the, I guess when you look back at it, it would have had a little more oomph if it was en route to winning a cup. Patty, Islanders have palms. Isn't he out for the season, though? Marky is a Swedish fish flopping around. Oh, bear with me 1 second. I'm actually going to grab some Swedish fish. I need something. I'll be right back. 1 second. I'm going to grab some Swedish fish. The death bag. I've been pretty good at not eating this. haven't touched this since the last time I ate it. These are some Victory Swedish fish. It's a great reminder. These are childhood favorite. Who doesn't like Swedish fish? Jay Snow says, say by some miracle they make the playoffs. Where are they going? Nowhere. This team won't make a deep run. Goaltending is inconsistent. Decor is mid at best, and we can't score goals. On the surface, I agree. But like I've said before, for them to make the playoffs would require an amazing run to get there, which would mean they got hot at the right time, and anything could happen. I'm always going to be of the mindset of just try to get in and see what happens. Anything can happen in the playoffs. This is a crazy sport. We've seen crazy things. And while, again, it's not likely for them to go on a deep run if they made it, all we could do is hope and wish. All we could do is hope and wish. Justin Name says, Parise didn't spend enough time here. Had he spent 10-plus years, then perhaps it would be different. I agree, but he, at the time, seemed like a guy that if he stayed around for a while, would have been in the conversation to have his jersey retired at some point. He seemed like that kind of player. Red Devil, old arenas were the best. New arenas gouge you for everything. And they just packed as many seats in there as possible. They're so tight, it's like they're made for people from the Renaissance. Also part of the reason why your boy likes the lounges, because the seats aren't super tight. You know, even the roomier seats aren't that roomy. But I've sat, it's been a while, but the last time I sat in like the upper deck, I felt like I was on an airplane a little bit. I'm not going to lie. I don't like being cramped. There's a lot of, I don't like tight crowds walking, and I don't like feeling physically confined. And some of those seats, I'm like, my God, it was like a torture exercise. There's no leg room. They're narrow. I'm kind of a big dude. Like, I'm not trying to be squeezed in a seat during a hockey game. Absolutely not. Richie, Parise was an absolute gamer. He'd mix it up with anybody and play bigger than he was. He'd make my top 25. Still remember him spitting chiclets and right back in there against Toronto. Beast. Jay Snow says the only place you're getting a star is in the draft. I disagree. I completely disagree. You could trade for a star. The Devils have done it plenty of times in their history. Yeah, Montreal tickets get pretty crazy. David, Ace, my brother's a huge Islanders fan. I'm 43. Went to tons of games with him at the Coliseum in the 90s too. Great memories. I bet you're at lots of the games you're at too. It's possible. Oh, no. All right. I'm not going to try to get diabetes tonight, but I'm going to do one more celebration snack. I mean, these things are small. We're going to go with the SPK. C-Wrench says, I don't need anything fancy. Ace 5 minutes after saying how he's spoiled by the lounges. Because they're there, my guy. They're there. So if they're there, right, this is listen, a lot of people attack me for the lounge stuff. Let me explain. I have said in my older age, one of the things that I will quote unquote splurge on is lower level tickets. I will, if I have to, sit in the upper level, but for the most part, I want to sit in the lower level. When you compare the cost of just a lower level seat plus the cost of buying food in Gen Pop, when you're in Gen Pop, you got to go on the concourse and wait in the lines and whatever. It just doesn't economically make sense to me, because for a little bit more money, I don't have to be in Gen Pop. I could not wait in crazy lines to go to the bathroom. I could get as much food as I want, and it's just an overall better experience. But I certainly don't require that to go to a game. But the fact that it is there, I will capitalize on that. But I don't need it. I don't need it at all. Swedish fish is one of the best snack candies to exist. It's up there. SPK are delicious too. Richie, Doc and Lou need to go into the Ring of Honor. I believe Doc is 79-80. Do it while they both still have their marbles. Doc, greatest hockey announcer of all time. Yeah, I've talked about this. In the past. Doc and Lou are definites. And I've said they should prioritize. All right, one more. That was really good. I need one more. Should prioritize the older guys, and I definitely put Larry Robinson on that list as well. Saravo, anything could happen, but they can't beat teams ahead of them. Congrats, Nashville, but we looked lost against them too. They're going to have to win, what is there, 28 games left? Like, they're going to have to win, 19 of them and get some loser points probably. That's just the math. Sorokin might be the best 10 in the league. I may have read that already. I take back what I said. Kove's better than Elias. Yeah, but are you talking about like time as a Devil or like on a one season basis? Because obviously Covey was not here remotely long enough to be like on an all-time Devils list. David, Ace, you say a lot. Making the playoffs is better than not, even if you're out in 5. How does that make anyone better on the team if they make it this year and then lose 4 out of 5 games? Because they're getting playoff experience. Period. There's no argument. If you can make the playoffs, you do it no matter what. Not making the playoffs is detrimental to the team. And I do believe that there was irreparable damage done when they missed in that 23-24 season. They had a franchise record-setting season in 22-23, beat the Rangers in 7 games, and then the next year we lay an egg because of poor goaltending and don't even make the playoffs. Like, I really believe that did real damage, real psychological damage to this group, and it cannot happen. And it also further seeps you into that loser mentality. Like, missing the playoffs is not okay. Absolutely not okay. Jason says, today with the cap rising, where are you getting McDavid, a Crosby, or McKinnon? My guy. All right, one more. The watermelon. Pure watermelon, and then it's really over. You're using extreme outlier generational talents. Like, these guys are so rare that if you believe you're going to hit on one of those in the draft, that's also crazy because the odds of that are still not good. The Devils had 2 number 1 overalls, and with all due respect, they got Jack Hughes and Nico Hischier. Good players, but they're not the players you're talking about. You're talking about a whole lot of luck to hit on a guy like that. George Shannon, wonder if Johnny McClain would be interested in Devils front office. It's an interesting one. I mean, if I'm being real, I would think that most guys that are not currently employed in the league would love to take a front office job almost anywhere. So I'd imagine he would be. I would love to just bring back winners from back in the day at every position. Just put winners in every position imaginable and surround them with winners. Tonky Lip says lower level is the way to go. I find deals. It's the way to go. M Sharp Ace, do you take pics or video in game? What do you mean? Gary says Kovalchuk, no cups. Elias, 3 cups. M. Sharp, I almost bought Swedish fish in the store the other day just because of you, Ace. Never tried them before. Did chocolate instead. Sure thing. You've never had Swedish fish before? Yeah, I read over that real quick. Yeah, Patty has 2 cups. He was on the 95 team, 2000, 2003. Yeah, 2 cups, not 3. S.J. Kobe was a beast, no doubt. Fun player. Fun seasons. The Kovalchuk era was fun. Jason said, how did the experience help us this year? We got worse. I'm not going to argue this. I mean, you can't prove this, but there's no way that missing the playoffs is ever better than making the playoffs. I'm sorry. It's just a ridiculous notion. Sarava says 23-24 should have been a conference finals appearance. I completely agree with you. Major letdown. Had we had decent goaltending, we would have at least made the playoffs. But Fitz hoped and wished. And decided to get Jake Allen and Kakinen on deadline day, and it was way too late. B now says Mogilny better than Covey, 1 cup to 0. Loved when we got Mogilny, obviously. That 2000 season was so much fun. M Sharp, nothing like playoff hype. Plus, you get an idea of who steps up. We got a Dadonov is terrible. Orlando, fans in this chat are so crazy. Who would rather miss the playoffs because they don't think we'd go far? Listen, I completely agree with you. Like I just said, you would be shocked how many people think like that. They're like, oh, if we're not going to go far, I'd rather not make it and get a higher pick. Like, what? It's completely insane to me. Johnny Mack is no longer with the Islanders, Gary. He used to be. He's now a free agent, unemployed. Jason, they could have had a generational player in McCarr, but we didn't draft him. And again, this is where I just have to tell people, like, you can't. Nico was the consensus number 1 everywhere. And so how are you going to get mad at the Devils for – I mean, it sucks, obviously, when you look back and like, oh, yeah, we could have had McCarr. But no GM in the entire league was drafting McCarr with the number 1 overall pick. And so this type of revisionist history, I think, is a little crazy. Sarava says, I was just listening to Tommy, I don't know what that is, Legauer on the Fan. You remind me of him. He's a good host. Well, I appreciate that. I don't know who that is. What is he? Is he a multi-sport guy? Oh, here's Ethan. This guy was flaming me the other night. Hey, Ace, I love your channel. Keep on the good work and still want merch, please. Now you love the channel? The last game you were abusing me. I can't keep up. I cannot keep up. Gary says, hey, Ace, if Toronto offered New Jersey Austin Matthews, would you take him? Yes. I mean, how do you say no to that? Obviously, it would depend on what the proposal was. I can't just be like, yes, no matter what. But, guys like Austin Matthews don't come along too often. I certainly would want a guy like Austin Matthews, but I'd imagine the price would be pretty steep. David has top 10 greatest. Marty Stevens needs Elias, Dano, McLean, Claude Lemieux, Parisi, Holik. Oh, you're crazy, David. Parisi in the top 10? I mean, I love Zach, but that's borderline sacrilegious. You have the first 5 guys, or the first 3 guys. 4 of the first 5 are 3-time cup winners. Patty, a 2-time cup winner. Johnny Mack, a 1-time cup winner with the 1995 Devils. Claude Lemieux and Bobby Holik, both 2-time cup winners in 95 and 2000. And then you have Zach Parisi with 0 cups. I get it. I loved him when he was on the team too, but I can never put him in a top 10 just because that he's never, he never won a cup. Like, I don't know who I would. I mean, your first 5 are obviously a given. The banner guys go without saying. So half of the 10, is already accounted for. The banner guys are no brainers. 6 through 10, I think, would be an interesting kind of conversation or list to see who other people put in there. Pepe, Parisi, Holik. Yeah, there's a lot of guys you could put in for 6 through 10. Faye says Matthews for who? There's got to be something big in return. Yeah, I mean they would want they would get a haul for him. SJ, I think missing the playoffs hurt the team's psyche after that historic season. They haven't been the same since. I completely agree. I think for a young team that made that first step to then take 2 steps backwards and miss, I think was just damage that will never be, fixed. Alex says, make the playoffs. There's a chance for a miracle on ice. You never know. That's my thought. Make the playoffs and see what happens. M Sharp, just warm-up picks or game action in search of one player on ice, or do you put the phone down in game? I do a lot of warm-up stuff, but during the game, I typically will only do like maybe crowd videos or like if they're doing something on the scoreboard. But in terms of the actual game, a couple clips here and there maybe, but that's really about it. Richie, I had a 12-game package this year, and my seats were in 120 front row. Even they are a bit tight. I went 3-6. My sons, who I sent, went 1-2. My all-time record took a hit, 69-40. It's still a pretty damn good record. David S. Ace, I wasn't trying to annoy you. I was just seriously asking if they lose 4 out of 5 in the playoffs. How is that different than losing in the regular season? I mean, David, you're not annoying me, but I'm just like shocked that people. How is it better? It's because they made the playoffs. I mean, I have to explain why is it better to make the playoffs than not make the playoffs? I mean, not making the playoffs means you suck. Like, even making the playoffs is nothing to celebrate, but not making the playoffs should be inexcusable. This is winner mentality is we are a playoff team every year. How far can we go? Can we win it all? And now we have people talking about like, oh, maybe we should just get a higher draft pick. And it's all loser mentality shit. I just can't believe this. But this is not just David. There is a whole contingency of people that think like this, and I will never, ever agree with it, and I'm somewhat baffled as to how anyone could think that in any scenario, not making the playoffs is better than making the playoffs. It's crazy. Now, playoffs is a new season and a whole new chance to win and learn. I love Devils playoff hockey, best thing in sports. Absolutely. Absolutely. Honky Lips, making the postseason at any level in sports inspires the players to do better the following season. So, of course, I hope they make it this year. Yeah, it's not looking good, but would love to see it. Jay Snow says, first round exits mean nothing. Go ask the Leafs fan how great the playoffs are, because at some point you got to tear it down. Okay, but tearing it down and saying you'd rather not make the playoffs than make the playoffs is 2 wildly different things. Justin says, screw the draft pick. I want to be in the playoffs. That's right, Justin. That's winner mentality. Saravo, he talks Giants, Mets, Rangers, tri-state area sports. Got it. David says, other David, Ace is right. It not only gives you experience, but free agents less likely want to play for a team that keeps missing the playoffs. Yeah, that's if you want to be a serious contender and be a true destination people want to go to, you build a powerhouse, a team that guys look at and they're like, you know what? I do want to get traded there maybe, or I do want to sign there when I'm a free agent because they have something going on there and there's a real chance to win a cup. Not, I want to go to this shit team that might not even make the playoffs. Like, that's just not, it's just terrible. Eden said, I put myself in timeout and learned you're a good live stream. This team makes us upset. No, I get it, man. I don't take it personal. So no problems for me, Ethan. I just think that was funny. I mean, B now says, was asking for merch last game too. Yeah, I don't know what merch he wants. And you guys, merch is I don't know. I would never want to make any sort of merch just for the sake of doing it. Like, I would want it to be something that at least I think is cool. And when I did the heavier, edgier, more violent, obviously you guys know how excited I was about that because I've been talking about maybe not that exact phrase, but have been saying I want to see a nastier, more physical group. So then when Fitz said heavier, edgier, more violent, like, it went off in my head where I'm like, that's definitely merch. Like, heavier, edgier, more violent. That was music to my ears. And so that's kind of how that merch happened. There hasn't been anything that really has inspired me to go through the process, because it is a pain in the ass. You got to get, do the design. It's a whole thing. So like when I am truly inspired, something will happen, but I'm not going to force it. And I'm curious though, Ethan, I don't know if you ever said, what kind of merch are you specifically talking about? World's Worst Gamer says, no way, I want more of that type of soft player on this team. Can we put Fitzgerald in timeout? Vecna Fitzgerald says top 5 as follows: Ansi Salmela, Peter Harold, Josephson, Palat, and Chase Stillman. But a smooth. I first followed NJD in the mid to late 2000s for a very short while before returning more recently. If I remember, Elias, Dano, Brodeur, and Stevens were all on the team at the same time. Yes, they were all on both the 2000 and 2003 Stanley Cup champions. And they were actually there for a few years before that as well. And then obviously the last two of the core were Marty and Elias, who were both on that 2012 Stanley Cup team. Not winning team, but team that went to the finals. David says Scott Gomez should be in the top 10 Devils too, definitely. I would have to actually make a list, but Gomer would be in the conversation for me for sure. But it's moved. Those are the names I see consistently, unless they're just the ones I could recognize. Was that basically the best version of the team? Yeah. I mean, that's literally all the banner guys. You didn't have Niedermeyer on there, but that was the core nucleus of the team for so many years that won so many playoff rounds. It went to 4 Stanley Cup finals and won 3 of them. SJ says 2 Hall of Fame defensemen and a GOAT goalie. You older people were so lucky. Yeah, not only are they 2 Hall of Fame defensemen, I would say they're both. I mean, I don't know. It would depend who you talk to, and maybe it is a little biased coming in for me, but I think they're both on a top 20 defenseman list of all time from any respectable person or outlet. And you could probably make the argument for higher. This is all peak NJD, man. 95 to, 2000 and I mean, it depends how you define it, but obviously the cup years, 95 to 03, that would be like pinnacle. And the Devils had some good teams after that as well, but none that really did the damage that those groups did, after Stevens retired. Playoffs? Gary says Jamie Langenbrunner has to be in the top 10, and the others that came from Dallas. Well, I mean, the others that came from Dallas, not in the same. Well, Neuendijk came in the same deal, but Grant Marshall came. But I'm not sure who you're talking about, Gary. The 5-star, they need to get rid of the black jerseys. Our white jerseys are the best. I like the white jerseys, but the alternate has to be black. We need another black jersey, but I would love to see white at home. David Chimes, Parisi has the highest goals per game of any Devil who played here more than 400 games. He was electric. That's still to this day. World's Worst Gamer says loser mentality would be wanting Austin Matthews on our team. You'd be crazy. He's a center too. Listen, I'm not saying he's like the number one guy I would want, but I think you'd be wild to thumb your nose at him if a sensible deal came about. Again, he wouldn't be my number one pick at all. But he's definitely a good player. Justin says, I want playoff hockey. We all do, man. Gary Parisi played hard, but his heart was in Minnesota. Yeah, his father was sick. I mean, listen, there's a lot of stuff that goes into guys wanting to, potentially leave in free agency, and a lot of people are still mad at Zach over that whole thing. Like, I got over it with time. And then once the story came out about his father, like, how are you going to hold that against him? And I've talked about this in the past. Like, I think anyone in that same situation would do the same exact thing. If you have a sick family member and you could go, be near them, I think most people would do that. Brandon says, to me, tanking for our first being worth more for the offseason is a win-now move. Nah, no, it's not. David, Langenbrunner comes close to top 10. Loved his spirit leader. Love Jamie Langenbrunner. Love Jamie. Warrior. Gary says, tear down Prudential Center and go old school and move back to Continental. It'll never happen, but I would love it. SJ, make playoffs. This team needs it, or I'm afraid their minds would get worse missing again. I mean, if they miss, they got to just – I mean, even if they make it, I think that there needs to be a serious overhaul this summer. And I don't want Fitz to be the one to do it. But there needs to be big-time changes, not just like little tweaks and BS moves. Like, it's time to really shake this thing up because this group as assembled is broken. John Fay, I'd rather make the playoffs and get bounced because at least we could say we made the playoffs and give it our best. Listen, we can all hate Fitz all we want, but we are stuck with him whether we like it or not. Richie, Ace, give this old dog me an obscure hint at the shocking interview. I sleep like shit, so it'll give me something to think about. One hint, got to hit the rack. Be well, Richie D, out. I mean, just that it'd be very unexpected. John says our only goal should be playoffs, not caring about what happens to the roster. I'm with you there. Evan, I think every fan would prefer to make the playoffs over not making it. They should. There's tons. There's tons that would prefer to not make it. Mark, Ace, do we have an update on Jackie Finger? Have you seen my countryman? He is pretty and lives in Jersey City. Number 13, Nico Hischier. It was a lower body thing. It seems like with video footage that it was his foot or something. And so, you know how the Devils treat injury news. It's like CIA secret. So we'll hear something tomorrow, whether it's anything of substance or not. Who knows? But we will find out. What time is that game? We will find out in short order because, you know, Saturday night they're playing the Sens. So we might not find out till game time. I could totally see it being that too, where they're like, oh, you know, it's a game time decision. So who knows? We just need them out there as soon as possible because this team was struggling offensively with him, and they're going to struggle even more without him. Jay Snow, they need the whole leadership to be gone. Fitz, Madigan, McKinnon, all gone. Completely agree. Clean house, baby. It's a new administration. Ethan, Ace, honest opinion, do you see Dawes playing any game soon? No, you guys ask about this a lot. No. They are firmly, outside of injury, obviously. The injury asterisk is always there. But assuming Markey or Allen does not get hurt, no, they are all in on these guys. All in. M. Sharp says, hard to come up with merch when the team isn't inspiring. Exactly. Like, what, you know. When the team's bad, it's even worse. Like when heavier edger, when he hit the heavier edger, more violent quote right away, I was like, merch. But that little light bulb hasn't gone off since. I've had a couple ideas, but I didn't think any of them were that great. They're okay. Justin says, no, Dawes will never play for the Devils again. I think that's a very strong possibility. In fact, I think that's probably likely. Again, barring injury. Kevin somehow ended up in a Ranger bar in Manhattan tonight. Luckily, I convinced him to put on the Devils game in the corner. Was music to hear the size of them losing minutes before we took the W. Yeah, another loss to the Islanders, who are red hot. Devil Dog 7 says, Duggan gone too. Everybody's got to get fired, except for Marty. And I know a lot of you are disagreeing with me with that. Marty's getting a pass from me. Doug, what does Jack potentially hurt with? They said lower body, so it looked like it was his foot. Thumbs up to whoever hates the Rangers. Thumbs up. M. Sharp, I always thought Needs would be a good coach. I think so too, but I don't think he has any interest in coaching. I think he's just chilling. And he might still be technically employed by the Ducks in some capacity. Gary says, Joe Nieuwendyk. Oh, you certainly butchered that. But yeah, I could figure it out. Joe Nieuwendyk, another Hall of Famer that stopped by for a little bit with the New Jersey Devils. Another guy that it was amazing to watch. As a hockey fan, to see a guy like that come to your team. Vecna Fitzgerald, pretty dope. They played Freebird after Patty Kane broke the record. What a goat. Yeah, I saw the clip before. I thought he was going to get a Team USA nod just because. B now Needs has 4 cups, threw it the Devils, best to ever do it, arguably. I mean, they're not going to put him over like Bobby Orr and stuff, but I think Niedermayer would firmly be on most top 10 lists, I think. John Fay, this is the last season we'll be wearing the jerseys. Yeah. Got to get another black one. And it's got to be with the Devils logo on it. I don't want that jersey thing to be like a shoulder patch or something. Justin says, I want the red and green jerseys back. I've been so over those for so long. Just get us a black jersey. Gary, Devils would need to give a first and futures for Matthews. I don't think that. I think they would want a first and a couple roster players and maybe futures. Teams would offer a ton for him. David, I definitely wouldn't trade Dougie at this point. If Fitz does, he has absolutely no clue as to what he's doing. I mean, would you trade him at the deadline? Are you just saying like hold on to him forever? Because I don't see any world where you could bring him back for next season having to pay Nemo. I think Nemo is going to get. I feel like he has his. I don't know. I feel like $7 million is probably where it might land. So you're talking about paying Luke $9 million, Dougie $9 million, and Nemo even at $7 million. That's $25 million with just 3 guys. And then you have Dilly, Pesci, Siegs. Like that's an expensive blue line. Jay Sosa, Jack better not go to the Olympics now. Oh, Jack is total. Guys, Jack would be going to the Olympics no matter what. I don't know how you don't realize that by now. The Uncle Puckers, what's up? Sup, Ace? No grit equals no playoffs. Pucker, Tony. No, I agree with you, Tony. I mean, this team is baby shit soft. Charmin soft special. These guys get tossed around, no emotion, no heart, and it's a real problem. And hopefully, I'm hoping it's a new GM and not Fitz can finally address this issue with some guys that could produce but have that snarl. We just have nothing. And that man is Brady. Oh, God, that man is Brady. I've been talking about Brady before it was a fashionable thing to talk about. These folks know. I've been talking about Brady for 2 years now. Got flamed mercilessly for it by, I think, Senators and Devils fans. But now everyone's like, oh, shit, maybe he was right. Maybe this team does get tossed around like nothing. And it's been a constant. We need an identity shift, and we need it now. Jay Snow says no balls, which is funny considering that after I think it was the Toronto loss that Sheldon Keefe was like, we need guys to show balls, or we need guys with balls, which was a great little clip on the season. Randall says playoffs at 13%, it's over. Yeah, it's a cold world out there. Harsh reality. John says we won't be seeing Dawes anytime soon, probably 20, 30, or 31. Yeah, on another team maybe. He's going to sign somewhere else this summer. But a smooth, is there any kind of service where I could go back and watch an entire season from the 2000s if I wanted, as if it were happening now but on demand? No. And we've talked about that before. I really wish that was the case. The league needs to do something with like archived footage and stuff. I've wanted to talk to them about that for a while, but like they're not going to listen to anybody. But there is demand for lots of different things. The 5-star, thank you again. Marty needs a part of the franchise. Completely agree. Marty should 100% be a part of the franchise for as long as he wants to in pretty much whatever capacity. You got an interview with Christoph Oliwa. No, it's not Oliwa. SJ, we won't win anything with Jack. Dude can't stay healthy. Need a healthy superstar. I think Jack is a nice complimentary piece, but it is a fool's mission, fool's errand, I think, to count on him as the guy. Like, that's a lot. George, really hoping we could get these 3 games before the break. March and April are going to be tough if we have no hope of getting into the playoffs with a lot of home games left at the Rock. Yeah, depressing stuff. And there's going to be a lot of empty crowds. I mean, if you're firmly not going to the playoffs, what are people trekking out there for? David Chimes, my 10 to 20 not in order. Kirk Muller, Langenbrunner, Gomez, Zajac, Madden, Gianta, White, Arnott, Verbeek, Driver. That's a pretty solid list. some cup winners on there, some non-cup winners. I'd have to really sit down and take some time to craft my own personal list. M. Sharp, Fitz has to clean off the cat mess he left at the table before he leaves. That'd be respectable before Olympic break. Then get the new GM and staff in. I wouldn't mind if he just left now and let the new GM worry about cleaning up his mess. Jamie, 2021 reverse retro's best looking jersey we ever wore. Is that the reverse retro 1 or 2? I can't remember what year it was, but I know the reverse retro 1 was the green, and then reverse retro 2 was the Rockies. I'm assuming you're talking about the green one, I would think. Randall says, one good thing, no more jersey after the season. Jay Snow, no way you bridge Nemo. I don't think people talk about bridge deals like they're so common. Like, I don't think he'll take that. I think he's going to want to get his money now. A long-term deal at a decent number. I don't think he's going to want a bridge. McKay, obviously another good one. Jay Snow, Fitz should have bridged Luke. The moron missed on Quinn anyway. Luke was never taking the bridge either. Pay me now. Crazy Alex, Fitz needs another go for Brady. Oh, I would so love to see it. M. Sharp, watch the players. Joy on Sharks bench when the goalies fought in the Panthers game. Loved it. Yeah, they were fired up. Celebrini was going nuts. John Fay, if we were to lose Dawes, make sure it's a trade for some assets, prospects, or something good in return. He's just going to leave. We're not going to trade him, and he's just going to leave in the summer. 7 a.m. and minus 13 degrees. Is that Celsius or Fahrenheit? B now, you're going to have an interview with Jack in Italy at the Olympics. No. That'd be cool, though, but no. David Ace, I was referring to keeping him until the contract is up. Reason being, Lou always said defense builds championships. Look how many injured defensemen we had all year. It won't hurt to keep them. I'm not against it, but then that would signify you're trading Nemo, in my opinion. I don't know how you could pay all these guys. Grits is going to have to get paid. You need money for maybe some other holes. Red Devil Ace, listen, we don't need Brady. Fitz is working the phone to bring back the 2 greatest Devils of all time, Cam Jansen and Eric Bolton. Loved Cam. Cam was such an exciting dude. Eric Bolton, another monster, briefly here. The green one. Yeah, the green one, the retro one was super nice. David Chimes, Lemieux, my top 10. One Conn Smythe plus when he first came here made the team much better in terms of compete. Yeah, Claude's got to be in the top 10 for sure. And I do think in terms of players, Claude needs to be the next Ring of Honor inductee for players. I wouldn't be upset if it was Lou or Larry or Doc, someone like that. Like that, I would be fine with that. But in terms of players, I think Claude should be the next one. Justin says red and green jersey should be the 3rd jersey. I'm kind of over it, man. They've done it so many times. Gleason says, way to structure your salary. Every D-man on the team makes $4 million and up. Every young D is drafted high and gets paid more than we can afford. Yeah, it'd be an overly expensive blue line. Jason said, if Nemo doesn't want to take a bridge, I'll take the picks. That would be rough. I'd rather trade him in a package for a known commodity. Jason says, I can't have Luke and Nemo making $18 million when they both can't defend right now. I don't think, I mean, I could see his agent trying to get the $9 million that Luke got, but I think it'd be more like a $6 to $7 million would be more realistic. Gary says, if they keep Dougie, say goodbye, Nemitz or Seamus Casey. Seamus Casey's another one where it's like, what is their plan for him long term? You know, he's been in Utica all year. Like, you know, I don't know. Like, if he's never going to get a true chance to crack the lineup here, then why don't you see what you could get from on the market? Be now Pepe, Conn Smythe, 22 points in a playoff year, not playoff round. Jason, the roster has too many holes. I agree. holes that Fitz created. I also agree with that. Gary says the A-line should be the next induction. So it's funny you mentioned that. I said a long time ago that I think they should consider inducting lines as well, because I certainly think the A-line should be in there, and I think the crash line should 1,000,000% be in there as well. I don't know if they'll ever do that, but that makes so much sense to me. But a smooth reverse stadium series concept is cool. Yeah, I'm perfectly fine with that. That's one of my top two choices. Gleason, I don't think we lose games because we were physically soft. We added a hitter and Kovacevic back. I get y'all are old school, but it's only a Hughes issue. The lineup is perfectly fine, size and toughness. Gleason, what team are you watching, bro? What team are you watching? They are not perfectly fine with size and toughness. That is just insane. Justin says Jack Hughes will get hurt at the Olympics eating lunch when he falls out of a chair. You guys are brutal. SJ, I think Nemo and Luke are too young and need more time, but our core is older, so that's an issue. Yeah, it is. They're getting paid. Well, not yet for Nemo, but they're going to be getting paid on the job training. Gleason, if we're looking at the league, there is a bruiser power forward on every line. Size wise, we are fine, and toughness wise, we are kind of fine. Gleason, you couldn't be more wrong. They're mentally and physically weak. I don't care what their size is listed at. They play like they're allergic to contact. Gary says Seamus Casey was supposed to be the next Niedermeyer. According to who? Who said that? I mean, I love these comparisons when these people throw out this guy's the next and they like compare him to an all-time great. Like, it's ridiculous. Comparing anyone to Niedermeyer is just so insane. Like, this guy's going to be the next all-time great. Talk about expectations that they're never going to live up to. Jay Snow, I really think Luke should have spent some time in the AHL or brought along more slowly. 100%. He was baptism by fire. He literally finished college. They got knocked out of the tournament. And then he played the last, 2 or 3 games for the Devils in that 22-23 season. I mean, there was no real development. It was just straight to the deep end. Adam says lines would be a great idea. World's Worst Gamer, I don't give about his personal life. NHL needs to stop talking about it, whether it's good or bad. Oh, is that the Brady stuff? Yeah, it's all stupidity. David Chimes, give Lou a banner next season and honor Claude and Doc in the ring, and that Ken Danico night should be an annual tradition. Dano really is a state treasure. Jason said, what power forwards in every line? That's what I'm saying. What is this guy talking about? You can look up the average height and weight of players on the team and compare it. It would have to be well below, I'd have to say. Not to mention that the listed sizes are completely erroneous. Like, everything is rounded up substantially. I'm glad everyone else is saying, am I in a simulation here? B now says we get manhandled every game by every team. It's true. Justin says the Devils are a soap opera. John Fay Gleason, stay off the drugs. Red Devil, I seriously think Casey is a bust beyond the AHL. He's been invisible the last few times he's played for NJ. He's great in Utica, but he doesn't seem like NHL material. I hope that's not the case. I think we all saw what he could bring offensively, and the big worry was about his defensive game. If he could figure that out, I think he could be an NHL player. David says, I have to agree with Gleason. Once Jack is out, the whole team falls apart when he's injured. What does that have to do with what he said? M. Sharp, Claude is a pure devil. They should put his snarling face up in the rafters. They could have his face on the jerseys. Claude was such a legend. Be now. The next top 10 players to ever do it. You mean never? Yeah, it's just when I hear these comparisons, I'm like, what? Hit the like button. Gleason said, you guys are signing this the reason we are losing, and it's not that way. We didn't break the single season record because we were tougher. We are tougher now than then. That's debatable, but we're losing now for a variety of reasons, and it's that this team cannot finish. There is no real Bulls. And when you look at that team, Mikey McLeod was a massive, massive loss that gets talked about sometimes, but not nearly enough. one of the better bottom 6 centers in the league. Like, you don't replace a guy like that. We had freaking Luke Glendening and Lamico playing center this year. I mean, if that doesn't tell you everything. Faye said, sadly, that's what happens when you build a team around one player and the name instead of building from the net out, and those who will play for the logo, not for the name on the back of the jerseys. Talking Lou philosophy here. The Devils are allergic to contact. I literally just said that. Jay Snow, the Devils are below league average in size. JP, Pepe was awesome. If he was on your team, you loved him. If he wasn't, he was hated. The ultimate menace. The ultimate menace. Red Devils has called Ken Danico night Mr. Devil night. Randall Flagg, Marchand 5'9" and tougher than most in our roster, for sure. Yeah, there's also, the amount of fight in the dog. John Fay, I feel like some of our guys don't play for the logo. They play for the money, and they play for the name on the back, not the crest on the front. We need guys who will play for the logo, crest, and not for a name on the back. Fay, I think you hit the nail on the head there. I think we have more guys that fit in line with that than the guys playing for the crest on the front. And there, within that whole thing, lies the fundamental issue and why I do believe there is a massive, massive culture issue at the moment. Jay Snow, we don't clear the net. We don't crash the net. We have no dogs. Tell them you need dogs. This is the NHL. M. Sharp says, not only are we small, but we are playing smaller than we are. Jay Snow said, I hate when people argue that you don't need toughness. Watch the playoffs. I tell the people this every year. Like, did you forget what the playoffs looked like every year ever? The physicality gets ratcheted up like 5-fold. Good night, Alex. SJ says, I rarely see a Devil in front of the opponent goalie, only Nico. Red Devil, new third jersey should be plain black, no stripes with claws face, death stare, and all smack in the middle. JP, the game today and tomorrow will never be as good as the past. A lot of skill, but so much less heart. Completely agree. And I think that's a lot of the kind of modern day athlete across the board. Jay Snow, the Panthers just bullied their way to 2 straight cups. It's amazing when you have dogs, what it could do for you. Gleason said you can't punch a puck into the goal, so lamenting over how we aren't tough is all ego and macho stuff. Wrong. We are last in 5-on-5 goals because of toughness, and Markey doesn't suck because of toughness. Gleason, you could not be more wrong. No one's saying to punch someone is toughness. Billy Guerin could punch people, but he was a tough forward. Jason Arnott, Bobby Holik, hell, even more recent vintage, a guy like David Clarkson. These were tough guys that we're not talking about because of actual fighting, but because of the way they played and the things they were willing to do to win. Those are the kind of guys you need. David Chime says, no identity is our biggest problem aside from goal scoring. I'll take either heavy, edgy, violent, or speed. We don't have anything that puts fear into the opposition. That's because we got children. SJ, if they were tough, they would go to the net way more and get more goals, but they are soft and stay in the perimeter. Agree. Gary, they all play for the money, not the team or the identity of the team. Completely agree with that. John Fay, we are losing now because we no longer have the heavier, edgier, more violent. We no longer have those bulls and junkyard dogs. We don't have people who get in front of the net. We always pass instead of shoot. Yeah, toughness is not fighting. Like, I don't know why when people say toughness, they're like, oh, you want to punt? No. Playing a tough game, going to the corners, taking a hit to make a play, crashing the crease, paying the price to win. Jason, no, toughness comes into play during wall battles, screens, tips, 50-50, everything. Every single thing. Who wants it more and who's going to put their body on the line? And this team, you just watch and you're like, this is not it. Right. So we're not asking for 5 Big Macs out there, but that's what these people try to spin it. Like, oh, you want 5 enforcers? Like, no, man. We want gritty men. Red Devils has put down the crack pipe, Gleason. JP, does any New Jersey Devil even have a presence on the ice? It depends when they want to. Typically, I would say now it's Kovacevic and Dilly. Sadly. And once in a while, Timo. Dan says, hard to play for the crest on the front when your ownership only sees the crest as dollar signs. I agree with that, too. All right, I'm running to the bathroom. 1 second. Be right back. I have to put this candy away before I eat it all. I just can't believe anyone could watch this team consistently and not believe that there's a real toughness issue. Just no, I really don't like Keefe's system. I don't think it fits his team's identity trying to win games 2-1. It might not be the best way, but when they cannot finish, like, I don't know. What are you suggesting? They try to go out there and win 5-3, 5-4 games? Like, that's a risky business too. They can't score goals. So how, I don't know that it's Keefe's fault. Again, they get tons of chances and they can't bury them. Randall says lack of toughness is largely responsible for our awful 5-on-5 numbers. B now says Nico is tough, wins a lot of board battles. He's not big, doesn't fight. I don't want everyone that size, but yes, that heart. John Fay, agreed. I feel like some of our guys are here to play for the money and not for the crest on the front. I like our core guys, but I feel like we need guys who will break bones to score. Yeah, guys that are going to go to the net and take the hacks, take the cross checks, just do whatever it takes to get that puck in the net. Guys that thrive in chaos. We do not have guys that thrive in chaos. I would take 2 Matthew Oliviers. Yeah, I think we all would. I love Olivier too. What a guy. Randall says 70% of goals are scored in the dirty areas, if I recall. Tom Wilson, probably one of the best examples of these types of guys. Gary says new core needs to watch old core hockey. Maybe it will grow on them. I don't think it would, but I've always said as part of like rookie camp or training camp, there should be some sort of like classroom setting video session where they do watch vintage New Jersey Devils footage to see the absolute dogs that we used to have and where it got them. JP says, I can't pick on Timo. He's been mismanaged from Jump Street. Oh, welcome to the club, JP. We fight these. Some of us fight these people every night. The guy is used on his off wing. He doesn't get power play one time. It's like a broken record. I could just make a recording of the stuff about Timo and play it after every game. Backs and racks, we don't have any breakaway, one-timer slap shot, and net front tip goal scorers. SJ, you need to be tough to take a beating in front, but only Nico is willing to pay the price. Yeah. No real goal scorers. I agree. I think Bratt and Jack are both kind of pass-first playmaker guys. And that's why I think if Jack ever had a real top 6 winger, the position we've all been begging for since Toffoli got shipped and was never replaced, you put Jack with someone that could consistently bury it, he's going to put up some big numbers. The 5-star, Bobby, thank you. Bobby Holik was amazing. Yeah, a big bruising center. That's what we need. We haven't had one in a while. I always talk about Bobby and Arnott. Those are the 2 guys. Like, get me anyone remotely resembling those guys. Get me those guys. And yeah, Gleason, I would love an Arnott because his actual size is beneficial, and that's a great player. The size makes us better at the game. It's not an ego, blame the lack of success. Tough. Where are you coming up with this ego blame? It's nothing to do with ego. I don't even know what you're talking about. We're watching a game where we're like, these guys are not physical enough. They're not tough enough. They don't have the heart and determination to consistently win games. I don't know what you're talking about, ego or any of this other nonsense you're talking about. It's complete nonsense. We need more Timo Meiers. I would like some guys that could score, but hopefully the March of Meier, but it could be way too late. Benjamin says Hack won't even go into the corners. He skates by and poke checks. You guys are brutal. SJ Nico's a warrior. It's not about size. It's being willing to do the hard work, and he does it a ton. Yeah, he takes a beating and keeps on going. John Fay, I feel like the only guys who we have to play for the Crest are Nico, Bratt, Dylan, Covey, Pesci. I don't know if I'm missing anyone. Probably am, but it is what it is. I agree with most of your list. Gary says maybe that's a new thing we could push management to push before the season. Yeah, there should be a whole video session with former legends in there, and you're like, watch this guy do this play. It's funny. I actually thought about, I might do it one day. I don't know. I thought about making a video, some sort of video like this, even as a thing for some of the newer fans, because a lot of us old timers end up, especially towards the end here, we end up always diving into, the good old days and talking about these legends that we would love to see, current players that even resemble these guys in any way. But I think these younger fans need to just see firsthand of like what exactly we're talking about. Bobby Holik, another legend. Absolutely. Gary, who is around now that Devils can get like Holik or Arnott? I don't know, maybe draft one, but a big center. We need big physical centers are a great piece to have. David Chimes is coming up 21-30, not in order. Breland, Burke, Chico, Green, Mogilny, Sikora, Arnott, Kovalchuk, Albeline, McKay. I'm not including guys playing now. Scott Pellerin. Okay. Be now, Parisi was small but nasty, went to the paint, not always about size. Yeah, I've always said pound for pound. Zach Parisi, one of the toughest Devils of all time, pound for pound. He would go to the corners, he would take a beating, and he would just score every way possible. He could do in tight with the moves. He could tip. He could put in rebounds. He had a little bit of everything. We need a new Mike McLeod. Yeah, if only it was that easy to find a guy like that, an energy guy that could pass, score, hit, fight. Exactly. McLeods don't grow on trees. Not many people have them. Gleason says, "Come on, Ace, you get what I'm saying. I'm not saying you're doing that, but we have some jarheads in here where we could lose a game. We out hit them and stood our ground, and they say we lost because we're soft as." No, there is people that are extremists, Gleason, but the reality is this team is too soft. Like there's just I just can't accept. I can't take anyone serious who says otherwise. When you look at this team, watch other teams play, and even within the Devils, get you watching the games, and you're like, where is that heart? Where is that real grit and toughness? And it's just not there. As a team, it is severely lacking. And as a result, we get kicked in the teeth often. Rafalski is another good one, JP. Brandon says, if Jack is not 100%, this team is not going anywhere. This team is garbage. I mean, they've been pretty bad. It's a painful season. Stefan Riche, oh, man. High stick. I'm all about needing grit, but we don't have a true shooter, one that could beat goalies clean from the hash marks or even deeper. Thought Timo would fist this somewhat, but they have botched that. I mean, on the power play, if Timo gets time and space, he could blast it. And I do think Grits has a cannon of a shot that could beat goalies clean as well. Hopefully, as he gets more comfortable, he starts shooting more, because I do think Grits has a shot like that, and would love to see him start burying some. But as he adjusts to the league, obviously only his rookie season, I do think you're going to see more and more goals from Grits. Jason, no, I love the old days, but again, I'm so sick of having to live in the past. I can't believe how inept this organization has got. Yeah, I'm tired of living in the past as well. That's all we have right now. Constantly reminiscing about glory days. It's like, what the hell, man? We need some good times now. Hopefully soon we have something to celebrate that's not from forever ago. It would be nice. It really would be nice. David Chimes, for pure offense given to the team over an extended period, Parisi is number 3 behind only McLean and Eliash. Maybe Muller could be ahead, but he left on bad terms. That's it, guys. I'm winding down. Anyone have anything Closing time. I got some stuff to do. Randall says, when you have a GM that doesn't have a winner pedigree, this is what we get. I just don't know what his – I think it's clear that he doesn't have a plan, but it's like how many times do you have to watch the same movie with this group of guys to know how the movie ends? And it's like the movie ends with either missing the playoffs or getting smacked in the first round. Like, well, what are you expecting to change? I don't know. It's all part of the hope and wish approach. Red Devil says, Gleason is a real fan. Ace just can't see the brilliance of Boozeface's vision. The future is 5'11" Euro finesse players. It's the 175-pound revolution. I mean, it's like, what more do you need to see? It's just frustrating to have these conversations with folks that believe all of the stuff that we're saying about needing power and grit and all these things is like a figment of our imagination. Like, no, just watch the playoffs and look at teams that go far in the playoffs. They all have these characteristics that we do not. Gary, we all bleed our devil blood, but they're going to cause us all to have a cardiac arrest. I think so. JP, I have an original Hischier Christmas tree jersey that he signed when he first came to NJ. That's nice. Good night, Ace. Good night, sir. That's a nice, the Hischier Christmas jersey. Very nice. Uh-oh, David's got to go back and adjust his list to put Hischier in there. Jason says Fitz decided to avoid all size. And again, I think this could come back to an organization being analytics obsessed. I do believe there's a correlation that they probably look at all these analytics and the math team runs their numbers and they're like, yeah, here's another Smurf that's going to help us win. And it's like, this is just not it. This is not it. We need some bruisers. SJ, we could draft a big center, but the downside is we'll have to wait years to see them. Yeah, no, listen, I'm in total win now mode, regardless of how disastrous this team looks right now. But for the future, they should, if whatever picks they do end up drafting with, they should literally just be picking big center after big center. Good night, Gary. Red Devil says they are small, they're below league average, and they're not tough. I agree with that. Backs and racks. Vegas just scored 3 goals in 5 minutes to tie the game against Dallas. Not looking good for Team USA if Ottinger's in goal. I fully expect it to be Hellebuck's net. B. Now Chorsky got me 2 jerseys. Just about everyone on the 95 team signed. That's very nice. Fitz tried to build the Penguins 2.0. Yeah, but he didn't have any. He doesn't have Sid or Gino. World's worst gamer, Gary Bettman, should be brought up again by people. He wanted this figure skating league. I don't like him at all. I'm very excited for when he's gone. Brandon, to be fair, Fitz constructed the best rush team in NHL history. It's just too bad we got countered. We have no other play styles. Yeah, we caught everyone by surprise. Once the word got out and teams were doing film on us, they're like, okay, this is how we shut this team down. They don't really have a plan B, and they could show signs of it here and there. But in the end, once plan A is shut down, they just wilt. They just wilt and die. Yeah, no, exactly. No Crosby or Malkin. All right, that's it, kids. If you're into the history stuff, like I said, you could go to either the vlog playlist tab on the channel or just go to videos. The 2 most recent videos, we have a vlog from Johnny Mac Ring of Honor night at the arena, and then the newest one is from the exclusive VIP event, Dine with the Devils, honoring John McClain from last night. Some pretty cool stuff in there, including a talk hosted by Matt Lachlan with Aaron Bratt and Ken Danico, Johnny Mac, talking about that historic 88 season. So go check that out if you're into the history stuff. I know a lot of you are. A lot of you are not. B-Now says, Bettman's from New Jersey. Not that it changes how I feel about him. I just didn't know that until recently. Screw Bettman. Gleason said, Ace, you're reasonable. Agreeing with Fitz decided to avoid all size is crazy. That is not true. Adding Dylan. I'm not talking about defensemen. I like size on D. Yeah, sure. Dylan and Covey. Okay. Nason, he's not overly big. He was a little bit of the heavier, edgier, more violent movement, but it's still not enough. It's still not enough. And then you're talking about Tsyplakov, a guy we got 3 days ago, and Timo we got years ago. So what are we really talking about? No new size has been brought in. Nason was signed, 2 years ago? Yeah, what are we talking about? Tsyplakov, like we're hitching our wagon to Tsyplakov. Guy had 2 points for the Islanders. Like, come on, man. We're talking about players that could contribute, that have some nastiness and have some size. We need way more of it. All right, that's it. I got shit to do. Back in action. Saturday night in Ottawa. Would love to take Brady Tkachuk on the plane home with us after the game as our new addition. Would love nothing more than to have Brady Tkachuk on this team. You guys all know he is my dream acquisition. He has been for a couple years, and that's it. But team got to keep winning. 3 more before the Olympic break. Win all 3, and you're still going to be a ways to go, but at least there'll be a pulse still. They got to win the next 3 to even keep a little bit of a pulse. Thank you all for watching. I love you all. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. Until next time, friends, let's go. Devils.